Let's go. Y'all know what it is, man. Come on.
And no toasted needed Eggo waffle. Eggo grab and go Lee style waffles.
It's
Like
yours
with
truly.
Eggo.
Worldwide tunes.
Men, women, children, the people. It doesn't matter.
What's this nigga talking about? What the hell is this? Oh.
Oh, he a fighter.
That boy named Charles Crazy.
Yeah. Shawty look crazy.
Shawty don't play.
Boy, he look crazy. He go by his name. What his name?
Crazy.
With a K or a C? With a K. Ooh, what you doing? He about to swing on the referee.
Oh, did he? Oh my lord, he on crack. Crack baby.
Charles Crazy was spinning, jumping on the cage.
This nigga
Not
straight.
sure what he was going to do.
UFC fight.
Attempt some kind of kickoff. Look at the hand speed of these two going at it, and it is over.
Stop playing with him. Another flip.
Ooh.
As he's been training hard.
And got back up on that. He hit him. He got back up. Off the knee. Ooh.
Another flip.
Ooh, he missed
He
the
jumped
whole-
out the. He jumped.
Cousin, he missed the whole ring. Look, he outside the ring. Hey, no lie, I used to have that much energy. Hey.
Oh my lord, look at that boy.
Shut the
Arrested,
fuck up.
cousin, arrested 40 times.
Felony Charles Bennett. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the craziest
Yeah, he ain't
fighters
do nothing but
to
get drunk
ever
and
compete
Come on, man,
in
he from the
MMA.
hood.
Yeah, he
A
got
man blessed with war
Got
power
a
from the
chance
gods,
to knock him out for
athleticism.
real.
Yeah,
that us
he don't have to do no
mortals
more drugs while he in
only
there.
dream
No.
of.
He
But
born
also
off
a
them
man
bitches.
cursed
Yeah.
with addiction problems, mental health issues, and a
My dude ain't got no
hatred
mental
of
health
training. In
problem.
an alternate
He
universe,
just from the
Charles
project.
Bennett
He need
could have
his
been a UFC legend, fighting the greatest the sport has to offer,
My boy,
and
that's true.
competing for titles. Instead, Charles Crazy Horse Bennett goes down in history as an underground cult hero, loved by the hardcore fans, and famous for his wild antics, lengthy criminal record, and exciting fighting style.
Let's go.
To
Stop
some
playing
people,
with him.
Charles Bennett's career is a story of wasted
Oh, you hit
potential.
me?
But that's too simplistic of
Oh,
a
you hit
narrative
me
for
again?
someone as complicated as Crazy Horse. This video tells the story of the life, fights, and crimes of Charles Crazy Horse Bennett, the wildest
My boy had a
fighter
fucking,
in the
like, he tried
history
to
of
cut
mixed
down
martial
the-
arts.
My dude had half a braids.
Fuck half a braid, nigga. That afro was sticking up like he slipped the blade through it.
Like me and Cuz say, out of the
Charles
mud.
Bennett was dealt a very bad hand in childhood and had the odds stacked against him from the moment he was born. He was born in Gainesville, Florida as one of 11 children, all 11 of them having different fathers. Charles grew up in a broken
This is
home
dead.
with both his mother and father
Mama,
struggling with
mama,
addiction to
what
crack cocaine
what I
and
say?
going in and out of
I
prison
know
throughout
that.
his childhood.
But mama was
Charles had
moms,
been
man.
extremely unlucky to be
Yeah,
born
down
into
11
such a
kids?
chaotic
Oh.
and unstable environment, but he'd also been blessed with
What?
freakish athleticism that he soon began utilizing for his high school football team, where he dominated at running back,
Come on, let's hear
linebacker,
about it.
and
Let's go.
even defensive line, despite being just 5 feet 5 inches tall. His power was just that
Thinking-
explosive.
Smiggy
Unfortunately, despite his natural physical gifts, Charles struggled to overcome the toxic environment he was raised in, and he began dealing drugs at an early age. Because of his drug dealing and erratic behaviour, Charles was soon kicked off the school football team in his sophomore year, and his life began to spiral downwards rapidly. A year later, his dad kicked him out of the family home, and Charles dropped out of high school to further immerse himself into the world of dealing narcotics to feed his own habit. Charles was not even 18 years old yet, but he was stuck firmly in the destructive cycle of selling drugs to satisfy his own drug addiction, and this landed him repeatedly in jail, with the mugshots to prove it. He was so young, and yet Charles just seemed destined for a life dominated by addiction and prison sentences. And perhaps that's how this story would have gone, had he not spotted an advert for an MMA gym in a newspaper one day and decided on a whim to go and sign up for some training sessions.
He
From
whooped the
moment
nigga
he
in
walked
jail
into the gym,
and
the
said, you
coaches
know what?
fell in
I could
love
do
with
this
his
shit
rare
professionally.
combination of elite speed and strength. As a veteran of both street and jail fights, with natural gifts that you just cannot
What?
teach,
Come
it
on,
seemed
man.
like Charles had accidentally stumbled into his calling in life and his one chance to break out of the shackles his upbringing had placed on him. Charles was never one to shy away from fast money, and before long he made his MMA debut, which he would actually end up losing. He bounced back shortly after in his second fight with a knockout via slam, which would become a bit of a trademark in his career. But then in just his third fight, he lost again, and this time by submission due to strikes. Charles had all the natural gifts needed for MMA, but he lacked any dedication to training and seemed to be more focused on his career in the streets than his career in the cage. This lack of dedication to his training was highlighted in his 6th fight, where he lost after collapsing in the 2nd round due to exhaustion. To not have the cardio to be able to fight for 2 rounds was a damning indictment of Charles's lack of commitment to training and his over-reliance on his natural God-given power to overcome his deficiencies. Charles felt like he was so good that training was just a waste of time that could be better spent selling narcotics and earning money. Perhaps losing in a way as embarrassing as being too tired to keep fighting sparked Charles to dedicate himself just a little bit more.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Hold on, let me see this stuff. I'm glad we ain't, you know what I'm saying? But dude was mad crazy, B. Dude, mad crazy, B. We gonna finish checking him out, though.
At 3 wins, 3 losses, he went on the best run of his career and won 9 of his next 10 fights, albeit most of them coming against non-Wiki Page warriors. But he was finally starting to deliver on the talent he'd flashed in the gym. Well, when he actually turned up to the gym anyway. At some point during this win streak, Charles decided to stop selling drugs and focus more on MMA out of a desire to avoid going back to jail and missing out on seeing his newborn son grow up. But his addiction troubles meant that he'd be in and out of jail for a variety of different charges over the coming years, and his legal issues combined with his erratic nature led to him earning the nicknames of Crazy Horse and Felony over the course of his career. Despite his continued legal issues, Charles's run of 9 wins in his newborn son grow
Did you
up.
see my boy pissing?
But his addiction troubles meant that he'd be in and out of jail for a variety of different charges over the coming years. And his legal issues combined with his erratic nature led to him earning the nicknames of Crazy Horse and Felony over.
Let's go with this.
No,
look at that. He did that on purpose. Stop playing with him. I told you that man ain't crazy. When I saw the first one, his glasses sideways. This is a hood street nigga. You see this? He just did drugs. That's it. My boy went to jail, did drugs, went through family problem, but that's why this nigga knocking shit out of MMA, because he's a hood street nigga.
That boy, if they changed their name to Felony Charles Bennett, they done
over the course of his career. Despite his continued
legal
issues, Charles's run of 9 wins in 10 fights, combined with his wild antics, meant that he had ended up on the radar of the world's 2nd biggest MMA promotion at the time in Pride. Despite a loss in his previous fight, Charles would go on to make his Pride debut against MMA legend Takanori Gomi in Japan. And this is where I'm hoping someone in the comments can help me out. Because how on earth
you go to Japan, you're
someone
a whole
with a
nother
criminal record longer than a Harry Potter novel managed to get into Japan?
Right.
Either the Yakuza pulled some strings, or he just straight up lied about his criminal record. But it doesn't matter, because Crazy Horse somehow made it through immigration and was ready to put the world on notice. But sadly, the biggest opportunity of Crazy Horse's career would end up exposing the gaping holes in his game, as he lost via submission in the first round. Charles' lack of dedication to training meant his wrestling and jiu-jitsu skills were abysmal, as these skills require a lot more time in the gym versus striking, which came more naturally to Charles. In his career, Charles would get choked out so many times you'd think it was a fetish of his. For every electric knockout he produced, there would be an extremely frustrating submission loss just around the corner. For every winning streak he put together, there would be a terrible run of losses following closely behind. For every major win against legitimate opposition, like when Charles knocked out former Strikeforce champion KJ Noons, he would then go on to take a loss to someone who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page shortly after. He was always capable of moments of magic, such as probably my favourite MMA highlight of all time, when Charles picked up his opponent, posed for the camera, and then absolutely slammed his opponent into the octagon fence. But the amount of experience in the cage Charles was racking up didn't seem to matter, because he wasn't interested in following it up by getting better in the gym and putting in the hard work needed to be a champion. And when he actually was in the gym putting in work, it wasn't always productive work. Like in 2011, when Charles had a disagreement with a training partner that ended up causing a fight in which Charles was knocked out by the training partner. Surprisingly, Charles took the mature decision to de-escalate the situation by getting changed and leaving the gym. But 15 minutes later, he re-escalated the situation with a vengeance by coming back to the gym armed with a piece of steel that he used to attack the gym partner in question. For this assault, Charles was arrested and hit with a charge of aggravated battery. Charles was equal parts exciting and frustrating, but always, and I mean always, entertaining. If you're watching this video, then you've probably watched my Lee Murray.
Bro.
That's crazy.
Bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man. Y'all enjoy it, man. We worldwide tunes.
We worldwide, kid.
And we out, man. We appreciate y'all.